Hi guys, welcome to the second edition of ArmCare IQ. I'm Dr. Ryan Croton. People call me Croatsy. I'm going to be taking you through an interesting session today. We're going to talk about Google Scholar. And what I found in my coaching experience is that many coaches rely heavily on social media for their information, and they don't necessarily look at research in the white papers that are produced that have been empirically vetted through a peer review system. So this information can give coaches insights in terms of how they want to make adjustments to their own programming and doing testing on their own. And I think it's an important thing that all coaches can understand in finding information. So I'm going to easily show you about how to use this right here. So on this home screen on Google, you go to Google Scholar, you can type it in the URL section of the web page. And so when we get to Google Scholar is like this repository of any research that's out there. It's much more popular than something like PubMed. But you can essentially put in anything in the search bar. So for instance, I'll just pull up a paper of mine. Let's say we want to look at stride length and ground reaction force. So I studied stride length biomechanics and their effect on pitching. And so when I notice here, I wasn't specific enough. So I have running and that's the bulk of the research. So if I put in baseball pitching, it will come up. So this is the first paper that's come up. And so essentially when I get a title, I can click on it and it takes me to the abstract. And this is where you get a real condensed version of what the study was about and what you can learn in terms of how the research was performed. And so, you basically look through the abstract. It gives you an introduction in terms of what it is. It tells you the test sample. So this is going to be really important. If you want to replicate a research design, you have to determine, what the study sample was. So in my particular case, it was pitchers that were collegiate level and some elite high school level. The results may be different if you have a professional model, but this can give you some insight in terms of, I want to test this. I want to be able to use this strategy to evaluate my pitchers or to improve the way that we coach. And so you go through and the next they give you the methods, like how is this done? How is this particular study done? My study involved force plates and 3D motion capture and looking at how stride length changes affect propulsion and braking forces for the lower body. And then they tell you if the test was significant or not. If the results aren't significant, it kind of indicates that, the study didn't have maybe enough power, didn't have enough people in the study to find a significant finding. And you may want to stay clear of it. If you see some significance and you have a lot more athletes that can be tested, you might strengthen the results and find out that on your side of things, your programming gets improved by utilizing this particular method. It gets to the results and gives you a summary of the results and a conclusion statement. So, this one is this work has shown stride length to be an important kinematic factor affecting the magnitude and timing of external forces acting upon the body. So stride length affects timing of force application, and that has an effect on performance. So that's how you really navigate the abstract. Now, if you wanted to grab the paper, sometimes they have a link where you can get this paper. And so if I wanted to dive deeper and look at all the other background research that was done and that was put into this paper and the introduction and the discussion, learned a little bit more about the equipment, you can just click on it and download the paper and there you have it. So I really encourage you guys to make use of Google Scholar. You can also look up the author. So if you want to look into the research that I've done, I can click on my name and you can see that the author has, other publications that might be of interest to you in the field of baseball or sport in terms of whatever you're going to research. So in closing, coaches only look at this stuff 10% of the time. And anecdotally, I don't find coaches want to read research enough. And I think it is a competitive advantage to understand what the latest science is and how you can modify these methods into your own strategies and coaching. So I appreciate you listening to this edition of ArmCare IQ and take care. Thanks.